the audio and the objection, specifically as it relates to the issue that you brought up during testimony, is overruled. With that, though, I will give the instruction on the audio versus the written transcript.
Thank you.
Okay? All right. And we'll bring the witness back in. Very good. All right, very good. All right, thanks everyone. You may be seated. Again, noting for the record, Attorney O'Brien's objection is overruled. Attorney O'Brien, we will note that. And then Attorney Laprenzi, I think where we left off is you were going to talk to the witness about the audio. You have not yet referenced the written transcript. I'll wait to address that when you bring that up, okay?
That's fine, Judge. I think technically that's not going to happen now. So we're just going to use the audio. We'll deal with the transcript part of it later on.
Okay.
The only thing is I might need it for the witness.
Okay, fair enough. All right, very good. Thank you. Okay. So with that, then you may proceed and then let the court know if I need to address the other matter. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe counsel has a copy of the transcript to follow along, but for the record, Your Honor, I know this might be a little tedious, but I will indicate for the record the start time and end time of the clip I'm going to play, plus the page and line ending and starting and ending of each clip that I'm playing, so that the record's clear what it is I'm playing, since I don't believe the court reporter will be taking down the audio. Is that?
Well, our court reporter is going to transcribe any audio that she is able to do, okay?
Is that permissible to do it in that way, though, for the record?
Certainly.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes?
So, Ms. Cobb, like we said, I'm going to play you portions of that recording. I'm going to ask you, number one, did that accurately represent the conversation that took place in? And I may have some questions about the conversation itself, and maybe some explanation or background might be needed, okay? Understand?
One thing, Mrs. Cobb. If you could just keep your voice up. My courtroom is large and the ceilings are high. Just want to make sure that our court reporter and our jurors can hear all of your testimony. So just as a reminder, lean towards that microphone when you speak. That way the jurors can all hear you. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. All right, I'm going to start this first clip, ma'am, and it's going to be at 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the recording. It starts at page 5, line 4 for counsel, and will conclude at page 6, line 13, and the ending. I think the ending time is 6:06. Who is that speaking there?
That's Erica.
Okay. And now we'll just do this for the first one so that the jurors know who is who, okay?
Okay.
I heard that he was just adorable and cute and lovely. Laying with him. I'm not sure how, but I mean,
Who is that speaking?
Erica.
And were you interjecting?
Yes.
Okay.
he smiled right across the table, doing that, and I mean laughing and giggling, and it wasn't really standoffish. Because sometimes they get a little standoffish, unless Chad has like cookie or something. Right.
And at this point in time, the conversation you're talking about is a visitation with Chad and the children?
Correct.
Okay.
Something to eat. And that, so yeah, he wasn't wasn't any of that. I actually got a good picture, which I still got to get. What's that one again? Which I still have to get pictures copied. And then it goes into, and he says that you guys are allowed to bring up whoever you want, whenever you want. And I have to give him all his tools immediately, or he's going to, how do you phrase it? Tell everyone about my involvement with Ashley.
So were you able to hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that the recording that you made that we talked about?
Yes, sir.
All right, and does that accurately represent the conversation you had with Erica Stefanko?
Yes.
So the testimony you gave earlier about the tools and about her involvement, is that part of this conversation then?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to move forward to page 9, line 9, through page 11, line 7. And the time for the record is going to be get it right, 8:13 to approximately 10:05. At that point, what did she say is not fair that she take the brunt of her
That
what?
Grace took the brunt of her issues with Chad.
All right, I was asking, did you know what words she actually said there? Because it was a little hard to understand. Did you hear them? Do you recall them?
It is hard to understand on this, but I think she did say brunt.
All right.
But then he's not, like, well, okay, I did that, which the thing that I don't get is why is it okay for him to do it, but then I'm a horrible person because I did it. Like.
And ma'am, does that accurately represent the conversation you had?
Yes.
The next clip, I'm going to move forward to page 12, line 24, to page 19, line 22. Page 12, line 24. And I'm trying to think this is going to start at 2:11 and it should go to about 18:35, so about 6.5 minutes.
The stuff did come out in counseling, and you openly admitted to both, evidently, him and I, some of the transgressions with Grace, which some of them he knew about and others he did not. Okay? But then, and I heard this from counselors were, they wasn't so much concerned with him on the no contact order with Grace as they were with you. However, you are both on there.
Now, Ms. Cobb, you're talking about a no contact order, and you're talking about her and Chad both being on this no contact order. Was that during this custody battle over the children?
That was after Chad was sentenced and Grace was in counseling, in that there was a no contact order that Grace was not to communicate with Chad or Erica.
All right.
And I don't know what he knew about prior to what came out in counseling or whatever. But I think he always thought he had to worry about what Ashley and Brittany were doing. And now he feels differently. Okay. And now it's like, oh, well, wait. Some of this other stuff was going on under my roof. Yeah, which they're the only things that he didn't know about at the time was the dog food thing, which really wasn't dog food, but nonetheless, same principle. She thought she needed dog food. That's not us, either here nor there. And it was so gross, and abhorrent. That, and then the one I would be like, well, just don't be off your dad's ass, but I wouldn't put it that way. I'd be like, don't hug your dad so much, don't do this, don't do that.
Could you tell us what she was saying there? It was a little hard to see.
She didn't want GC to be as loving towards her dad. Like when Chad would come home from work, she wasn't wanting GC to be hugging on him, sitting on his lap, showing affection, that she would be nicer to GC when Dad wasn't around if GC wasn't so loving towards him.
And is that what she said?
Judge, we would object. We don't see the relevancy of this matter.
I'll allow it for now. Brief background. Thank you.
So if I understood her right, she said, don't love your dad so much?
Yes, sir.
You don't need a sex with. Yes, if you don't have good love on your dad or whatever. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me even trying to explain to you how that came out. This is still not right. But as far as I know, those are the only two things that he didn't know about prior to. And it's been a while since I was like, yeah, that happened. And in fairness, some of the stuff that was going on under his roof, this is the part that really gets me, that it's sort of like the same way that he's like, okay, well, Jake's like, well, I'm here because of you and it's all your fault. And I'm like, bullshit. But how are you going to say it's all, I get that if everything had been told exactly as it happened, that we both be in prison right now. I don't disagree with that.
So here she's talking about the truth coming out, and what did she tell you?
That if the truth were to be told, that they would both be in prison right now.
And then she says, I don't disagree with that. That's totally the truth?
I believe that's,
Sure.
yes.
But for him to say that, I would have been there because of you, except more for you. He came up with how to do it. He executed almost all of it. The part that he executed went totally awry. I mean, he would talk about, I couldn't really ignore anything to say on the phone, and I didn't want to make it
mentions saying it over the phone. What phone is she talking about?
I think there were things that she wanted to discuss with him, but some things were inappropriate to talk over the phone with him.
Yeah, and so the jury may not understand, when you talk to Chad on the phone, if he's in custody, what happens when you have that conversation?
You have a pre-recorded recording that comes on there that tells you that they may be monitored or recording your conversation.
All right, so
I'll tell you what, though. You ask her about her discussion with him that's recorded. I'm not going to permit questions about her interpreting what she meant by statements that Ms. Stefanko made during that, okay? So I'll permit that question that you just asked.
Yes, Judge.
But we're not going to have this witness interpret what Ms. Stefanko was saying while she's being recorded discussing the issue with Ms. Cobb. Understood?
My questions, if I have them, I understand the ruling.
Yes.
If I do, my question would be, what was your impression of what she's telling you?
Fair enough.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and we'll take that question by question.
Thank you,
Thank you
Judge.
very much.
Or make him angry for his appeal. But he was so, like, he would get this look on his face and be like, yeah, I'm going to, if this goes through and I can do this, I'm going to keep her skull as a trophy.
Did you hear that? Could you hear that on the recording?
Yes.
When she said that to you, and tell it, just in case it wasn't clear on the recording, what does she tell you he's going to do?
I believe save her skull as a trophy.
And that's what Erica is telling you Chad told her.
Correct.
Okay, so Erica's not saying, I'm going to keep the skull as a trophy. It's Chad telling her that.
Correct.
All right. And, okay.
And, like, he can say stuff like that, but then I'm all responsible and it's all my, I mean, it's just, it's not inclusive and it's not fair. I know that he may have asked me, because he's all the time, he's like, oh yeah, well, I told you I wouldn't do it all. And I'm like, when did you ever say that? Because I remember the conversation that we had under the tree, and he's like, under the tree, because we really were literally under a tree having a conversation. Well, when he refers to it that way, like the time at the tree, that's what he was talking about. He's like, you know, if I do this, there's no turning back, blah, blah, blah. And we forward from that. I could see him having said prior to that, I don't want to be here right now. I don't even want to do this. And going forward from there. So in that instance, if he had just said, if he put it that way, I could have seen that he really said that. But he looks at it as though, as if he said to me, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this, as if he was asking me, please can I just go home? And that's not what happened. Not that it matters from your perspective because you weren't there and so on, but it really, that's one of the reasons I want to be able to sit down in front of him and be like, I know you don't want to see me right now, and I understand that, but you're not going to turn me into something that I'm not. You're not going to turn the situation into something that it's not. And then make your decisions based on that. That's my issue. That's why I'm being so impatient about it, for him to be like, well, you know, he's like, I don't even understand you. You're like, you've spiraled so much since this happened, and it's like, hold down a job, paying my bills, finally getting out of debt. The kids are happy. None of them are having anything happen to them that CSB would have a problem with. Things are just calm, and I know he thinks that I'm just like such a horrible, difficult person to live with, and we definitely do not. He and I do not get along. I mean, I don't know what transpired. Because I think I seen him. I think Jay and I stopped out there Monday. And everything seemed peachy keen. I mean, you guys are getting ready to go on to Disney World and stuff. I mean, do I think it took two of you to get to where he is today? Yeah. Well, then I'm not disagreeing with that, but it took two of us. It wasn't, he's trying to put it all on me, and that's not, and the reason that I have a problem with that, aside from just like, I don't think that that's fair. I
Mrs. Cobb, does that accurately represent the conversation you had with Erica Lyons in March of 2014?
Yes, sir.
The next clip is going to be page 44, counsel, line 22. To page 46, line 19. It should be about 39 minutes and 22 seconds to 41 minutes and 10 seconds. At this point, you're talking, correct?
Yes,
And you're talking about Chad not in a place and she's not in a place and he needs more time.
correct.
Are you referring to the situation with her and Mike?
Yeah, and the divorce and that wanting to talk, and they're just, it's just, like I said, too raw, and they needed to calm down before they could talk to each other.
All right. And as you said before, they were both giving ultimatums.
Correct.
Okay.
That's why I was like, okay, because the first thought that went through my head is immediately I'm like, well, if this is what's going to happen and I'm going to lose the kids and I'm going to jail and this is what's going to happen, because to me it was like one of two things. Either he's bluffing and he really never really do that, or he plans to do it anyway. That was the fact that he put it there instead of just having a normal conversation with me saying, I'm not ready to put it on the floor yet, he wanted to do that there. Instead of just having a normal conversation saying, look, I'm not ready for this. I don't want to be your enemy. I want to work with you with the kids. And I can't necessarily expect him to be able to articulate that given his state of mind. But the way he went about it, unless his real intention is actually to throw me in prison, in which case I need to make some arrangements to figure out what's going to happen to these kids, because every single one of them is going to get adopted out except for Lily, because obviously she's got somewhere to go. And maybe you guys be a cop. But what's going to happen with Faith and what's going to happen with Louisiana?
And does that clip accurately represent the conversation you had with Erica?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, next is page 52, line 25 to page 53, line 2. And it should be 46 minutes, 22 seconds to 46:28.
Which we all know why he pled.
All right, I'm going to go back a little further because it will allow me to stop right at that point. So we'll listen to a little bit more of that, starting at 46:07, which I believe you're talking about Chad's appeal.
So if all you saw at that site was evidence of an assault, then really he should have been charged in Wayne County. The only issue that I see with that is that they're going to say, why didn't he bring that up before he pled? The fact that he pled, which we all know why he pled and the circumstances and so forth, but he can't use those.
So she just told you that the fact that he pled, which we all know why he pled and the circumstances and so forth, but he can't use those. Did you know when she said we all, are you one of those we all that knew why he pled?
Yes,
And Why couldn't he use those facts and circumstances?
I was told the kids would be,
Objection.
Sustained.
Next, we'll go to page 55, line 20, counsel, to page 56, line 9. Let me see, 55, line 20 to page 56, line 9. And it should be approximately 49 minutes and 24 seconds, starting to oops, excuse me, 48:56 to 49:24. Well, looks like 48:46. We'll start there.
Right after it happened. So I don't know which one it was. But it's a legitimate argument if you get that far. But the point that I was trying to come here to make was just like, I don't really know what he was trying to do with that. But what he really did was he totally flipped my switch. My first thought was, well, obviously now I'm going to prison, so fuck everybody. And you guys are not seeing the kids, and he's not seeing the kids. I'm just going to spend as much time with him as I can until it happens. So I calmed down just a little bit, and I was like, okay, let's have a conversation.
So is this the conversation she's talking about now?
yes, sir.
Next, page 76, line 6, counsel, to page 81, line 2, starting at approximately 1 hour, 5 minutes and 38 seconds to 1 hour, 9 minutes and 50 seconds. And it looks like we'll start at 105:28.
People are going to have 12 different views on it, different perspectives. And what and I mean, it will, I don't know how often, but it pops up. Okay, like example, we went on vacation, and he's frantic because he can't get a hold of us. Did we make it back? Did we make it back? Well, I mean, I know we're kind of his lifeline here. And but he's like, did you guys change your mind? Do you guys think I'm a piece of shit and Mike's the better person? And I mean, this is exactly his wording on some of this. Do you feel like everybody else and now you don't want anything to do with me? And
I never said I don't want anything to do with them. And maybe I can try to write some of the stuff down and tell him so that you're not trying to repeat to him.
but he's just constantly.
No, I know that, and I do get that, but for him to come to me then say, this is what's going to happen, or I'm going to have to go to prison. And it's like, well, that's not going to go well, because if you're going to tell the whole truth, I'm going to tell the whole truth, and that's going to be a big problem. If I could go back in time and change things, I would change a lot of things, but that's not a possibility. So we are where we are now, and I want him to be able to come out and have a life. If there's any way that I can facilitate that, I want that to happen.
If there's any justice in this damn thing, he would be out to raise Cobb.
I want him to be able to do that.
I want him to be able to do it more than you do. I raised him. It's only fair. It is only fair. And that's exactly what I tell him. I'm like, or by the time the other one's in her teenage years and dating.
Like, that's you. But I sincerely want that for him. I don't think he belongs where he is.
No.
If I could change it and go back and change what I said to him, then I would. But
you know, he talks about you and stuff. And I mean, I just know he's all over the place with stuff.
Well, he can't, I mean, I really need to know, like, what his,
I don't know that he knows what his.
I need him to not call me and make those types of statements. I mean, I would work with him, but for him to call me up and give me an ultimatum and say, you know, which I would have had this conversation with him, but number one, he was not rational, number two, he wouldn't call me back. And, you know, that's not helpful. If really he has a goal in mind that he needs to, and I would rather he address it through you. If he can't talk to me in a normal kind of a way, then
I don't really want to be the one.
no, you don't, but I really cannot have it because for me, like, I don't
You
know.
guys want me in the loony bin.
I always have that in the back of my head anyway. You know, like to be all honest with you, like at this point in my life, I have no purpose I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. I'm not trying to bullshit anybody. I'm just want to go forward and raise the kids.
At one time, I mean, you told me face to face that you made the phone call and you set the meeting up. I mean, that's what you had told me.
And there's no lie in that. Like I said, if Chad said this is what we're going to do, and this is your part in it, and I carried out my part, and I did exactly what he told me to do. And it wasn't because he was forcing me to do it, or like he had a gun to my head. It was because he said this is your part, and this is what you're going to do. Which is how it always was when we did something we were supposed to do. You know, and I did everything he told me to do, and I fucking gave it up.
Ma'am, does that accurately reflect the conversation you had in March with Ms. Stefanko?
Yes, sir.
Council, moving to page 94, line 25, to page 98, line 4, starting at 120:21 to 120:37.
Pardon me, was that page 94?
It was page 94, sir, line 25. And we'll start it at 120:18.
And then we have a problem. I can't have him calling me and telling me, giving me ultimatums, this is what's going to happen, or else. I can't function that way, and I can't respond to that in a normal kind of a way. You guys have not done anything to merit not having the kids. You're good grandparents. I don't have any problem with them being with you. It is a relief when you take them because I have a little break. Yeah, I can get the house. My mom took them the other day and she came back and she's like, oh, the house is so clean. I'm like, yeah, I had 2 hours. And I know he's under a lot of stress and so forth, but he can't be calling me up saying those kinds of things to me. And I couldn't tell him that because, you know, first of all, how you say that over the phone, but second of all,
And there are times we get disconnected, and
no, he hung up on me. The call was over and he deliberately chose not to call me back. This is what he had to say to me, and
but sometimes we can't call back. I mean,
No, I know.
we haven't finished the conversation, and it's like, and there's nothing there, or you can't hear him, or there's crack.
yeah, this is not that situation. But I'm trying to be as I wanted to see the kids. I wanted to be with the kids. I wanted to get out of prison as soon as possible. And, you know, I'm not trying to be like, you know, I'm going to control you and tell you what to do, and you're going to see me. And I don't want him to put me in this mindset where I'm like some kind of piece of shit. Because I've done things that make me a piece of shit, but that doesn't make Not, you know, even the moments that she went through before her life ended, no, I kind of feel like.
Ma'am, did that accurately reflect the statement that Erica Stefanko made to you on March 4th, 2014?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, March 5th, 2014.
Yes, sir.
Counsel, page 128. Oh, excuse me. Page 125, line 23, to page 128, line 6, 143, 36 times starting. We'll start at 143.22 till 145.24.
Tattoos. I forget what this is in Latin too. I forget what. It's religious, whatever it is.
Yeah. But anyway, from my perspective, I can't, like I said, I can't have him. And if it really is his intention at some point to put me in prison, I'd like to know about it because I have some arrangements to make. I'm not going to go to prison. I'm not going to have someone else raise my kids and just stand by and I'm just going to be in prison for 15 years or however long it's going to be. Makes me feel like I need to take out a life insurance policy, to be totally honest with you. Because I know he's talked about, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Well, he's a lot tougher than I am. And we get through this however way he needs to, but I'm not doing that. I already made that determination a long time ago that if that was what it came down to, and I was going to, the only reason that I would even try to muddle through anything like that is to get all that and with my kids.
He's trying to do away with himself a time or two.
Mrs. Cobb, at this point, you kind of talking, you said, you're talking about a conversation of what they're going to do. You never say the words, but you say, I think, this is you, I think he tried to do away with himself a time or two. Are you talking about suicide?
Yes, sir.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained, it's stricken.
What were you talking about?
I believe Chad tried to hang himself when he was in jail.
All right.
Objection.
Sustained, stricken.
Strike.
I'm glad. I know we talked about it, but I didn't think it actually ever happened.
I'm not sure. It's like I can't do that.
The way he's always very frank and been very, very frank with me, and the way he spoke to me about it, he kind of like practiced to see what would happen, but never actually went through with it.
Whatever that means. I don't really know.
Yeah, but I don't think he's at that point now, but then I'm worried about what happens, and then if he really is in this mode of like that I'm just such a piece of shit, and I can't function like that. I can't function having that over my head, and from my perspective, if that's what he's going to do, he needs to know, hopefully he knows what the repercussions are in regards to the kids, and whether he gives a shit about me or not, what the repercussions are in terms of me. And I would like to know about it in advance because I don't want to just get picked up and thrown in prison cell where I have very few options.
Would I tell him?
Ma'am, does that accurately reflect that conversation we've been talking about on March 5th, 2014?
Yes, sir.
Council, moving to page 133, line 10, to page 138, line 20, starting at 150.07. will start at 150 even.
Family, I mean, he is, that's why he gets there and look at service.
Yeah.
So,
Well, my intention is not to make things harder for him. Trying to work with him. But the worst thing he could do is try to put something like that over my head because it's already over my head already. And do I feel bad about what happened to her? Not really. Do I feel bad about what happened to everybody else? Absolutely. Would I take it back if I could? Yes, I would.
well, yeah, so would he.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. Because he asked me that. He's like, you don't even feel bad about what happened to her? And, like, I'm not going to lie, I don't. Like, I don't. Especially having...
I think, and we keep telling him, you need to write a book, you need to write a book. And, I mean, I know multiple attorneys, counselors, whatever, through the course of years, have all, this wasn't the way it was supposed to be. This wasn't right. This was wrong. This is way off base. But it still didn't change anything. I
Still went through the way it went through.
If you really want to point blame, it was the court system. Why the court would give temporary or whatever other kind of custody.
Why do it to any child? Yeah. I can't even, when I had to go through that stuff to look for the things that he needed, it got me so upset. I don't know why I still have it, because if he ever needs it, I want him to have it. But,
Wait a minute, well, I don't, what?
whatever you needed for the workers' comp, I had to go through all of our great stuff.
Oh, okay.
And just glancing at it was so upsetting to me to remind me of all the crap that we went through and all the bullshit and just like hitting up against a wall and like, why is this happening? This is not the way it's supposed to go. She never should have yanked her. Why did that hearing get continued for 3 months? And it was just like, what are we supposed to do? The court system is not going to work with us. Ashley is going to get custody of this child. Especially after the guardian ad litem came in and was like, oh, I don't know, it's telling the truth. I think that was one of the real tipping points for him. I was already there. I was there from the beginning. I knew what the situation was. I was like, given that this has happened, these are the courses of actions that can't happen. And granted, one of them I should have left out, but he was at a point where he was getting ready to be like, I can't help her. I'll terminate my rights.
Yeah.
And whatever he thinks about, me and what my relationship with Grace, I couldn't any more than he could say that was okay. Not because he thinks I had this big thing with Ashley, like it's a big battle between who, and granted we hated each other and there was definitely a rivalry, but it was just knowing what she would become if they had her and what her life would be like. I can't stand there and be okay with it and say this is my daughter. My boss, her husband has one biological child the mother has raised because he was in the Navy. And the mother is a piece of crap. She's just an absolute piece. She actually is very much like what Ashley would have been at that age. And now the daughter has picked up at 15 years old, has picked up on all those habits in the exact same way. And they tried to get custody of her over this past summer, which was a lot of fun for me at work while she was doing nothing but trying to work on that. And then she turned around and just totally backstabbed them because she didn't like the fact that they were rules.
This is not being relevant at all.
Sustained.
Ron, can we approach?
Yes.
Had her mom come after they spent all this money and so forth, and it's like she's just like her mom. There's nothing you can do for her at this point, and that would have been Grace. Now Grace has a chance at a life. She has a chance at being a person with a life. And with Ashley, she would have, I don't see a chance for her to have been anything like but what Ashley was, because she was already picking up all the shit.
Yeah.
So I couldn't sit there and be like, oh, that's okay. Especially since I was the one like, we cannot continue to go through this because we had finally gotten the thing that really makes it hard for me about Chad and I is granted, I didn't like the way that the situation was. It was still hard for me, but at least we got to a point where we could coexist. We had gotten to that point. And then when Ashley came and took Grace, it all fell apart. Like,
Mrs. Cobb, does that clip accurately represent the conversation you had with Erica Stefanko on March 5th, 2014?
Yes, sir.
Council, next we'll go to page 144, line 9, to page 144, line 12. And I guess we'll start at 158.29 to 159.44.
he did X, Y, and Z when he made that choice to do that night, and it's like, you don't understand what you're talking about. He does just stop. And she gets this like poop face on her. Like, just stop. You know, regardless, I will still defend him to anybody.
Well, I mean, like Bridget, I mean, the only comment she'd ever make was nobody deserves.
I'm sorry, I paid the wrong portion. There's 159, excuse me. We'll start at 159.32 to 159.44.
Somehow I just can't go back for her. And then, you know, Rick was on the news. We were so scared this would happen. I bet you fucking were.
The thing,
Does that clip accurately represent the conversation that took place between you and Erica Stefanko on March 5th, 2014?
Yes, sir.
Council, going to page 147, line 3, to page 147, line 23. Starting at 201.39 to 202.26.
I didn't even ask him today. That didn't cross my mind.
I get where he's coming from, but I don't want him to be like where he thinks that we should be together and he's trying to hold on to me in that kind of a way.
I don't think so. I mean, I really think he knows you guys don't gel well together.
But I also don't want the opposite where he, in order to, you know, that he decides that I'm just a worthless piece of shit and he doesn't even, number one is that's not right, and he's like, well, I can't be your friend. Well, okay, we don't still have to be friends, but like I value him as a person. I don't want him to be like, fuck you. I don't.
Ms. Cobb, does that accurately reflect the conversation on March 5th, 2014?
Yes, sir.
Council, moving to page 153, line 24, to page 161, line 14.
I'm sorry, Attorney LaPrenzie, what page?
Page 153, line 24.
Thank you.
Starting at 207.46 to 214.29.
Like that was what I was trying to say to him. Like I would never have, made a choice between the two of them and chosen Mike.
Right. Yeah, because, and I mean, and yeah, we do, because I mean, it took both of you to get where you guys are today and where he is, and
It's not unreasonable to be like, well, okay, you get to go scot-free. Why does he have to now bear this burden?
right.
It's not that I don't understand that. It's that it was not a play. It was not. was not a place I wanted to be.
And, I mean, I think if you were, knowing how we're doing this, I don't think you would have.
No, it's very true. And from the, like,
Ms. Cobb, when you said, and I mean, if you were no way in hell were doing this, I don't think he would have, what were you meaning there?
Objection.
You're referring to Mrs. Cobb. She can go ahead and answer. Overruled.
Okay, ask again, please.
In the conversation, you said, and I mean, and I can play it for you if you want to hear it in context. If you or no way in hell were doing this, I don't think he would.
Yeah, could you play the tape again?
Sure. I'll just go a little bit ahead here, or back.
yes. And it's not unreasonable to be like, well, you get to go scot-free. Why does he have to now bear this burden?
Right.
It's not that I don't understand that. It's that it was not knowing that that had to be your perspective was not a place I wanted to be.
And, I mean, I think if you were, knowing how we're doing this, I don't think you would have.
What did you mean by that?
I'm unsure.
Okay.
No, it's very true. And from the, like, if he had said, the thing that he and I really, like, butt heads against is all the bullshit that we did that we shouldn't have, where we could have gotten in trouble. There's always something that I would say to him, which I said to him repeatedly, whether he remembers or not, with the Ashley situation. You know what you can do and what you can't. If this is something that you think you can do, then I'm okay with it and I agree with it. If you can't do it, then obviously you shouldn't do it. And I always threw the ball back in his court. I don't think those are the exact words that I used that night because we already have been over that so many times. Like, we would fight about it. Like, I'm like, this is the only way this situation is going to go away. And I feel like he really felt, I didn't know that at the time, but he really felt pressured by me to do something about it. Because I felt like he was the only person that could potentially do something about it. And he didn't tell me I can't do it. If he had said I can't do it, then it never would have proceeded. If he had said I can't do this, this is something that I can't do, there's no way in hell I would have been like, go forward with it. I foolishly threw the ball in his court, let him make the determination as to whether he was capable to do something that I should have had the good sense to know you just don't ever try to do. So that's when I'm like, I will admit to my fault in that. It's like, yeah, I should have at that point said, this is too risky. That point, whatever percent is too much. Because I just seen him get away with so much crazy shit that I thought he could get away with anything. I mean, he's got some crazy stories. The way he got that van right down from the police station and just got it out of the, like, that's hilarious. Like, I wish I had video of that. So that kind of tainted my idea of, and then I thought he would always know what he could and could not do.
It's like you always got, and I don't know because of showing horses or what, but it's like I always learned there's always someone better. Or knows more, or however you want it.
Well, and it wasn't that. It was that, I mean,
There's
if he had gone, if what was supposed to happen that night had happened, then he had a perfect plan. But it didn't go the way it was supposed to go at all. And why that is, I don't know, because he told it to me two different ways. It doesn't matter now.
yeah.
But yeah, again, that's why, I mean, I was, you can't like really function in everyday life if you're looking over your shoulder every second. Every time I hear a siren, I think they're coming for me. And that's something that I'm going to live with, but I don't need him to contribute to it. And if his goal is really to do that, then I need to know it. If his goal is really to do what he needs to do for himself without sacrificing everyone else, because regardless of how he feels about me, and I'm not trying to say this in a manipulative kind of a way, it's just the fact of the matter. Kids and I are part of much say it's on a person, but it could become a person. I don't agree with cutting that off and making that choice to have that not be a person. And at that point, we made that choice, me still thinking that he would be the person that I would be with, because it was what was best for the kids. I know that's why he sat there. My understanding is he sat there on that and wrote a legal pad. Will this help my kids? And that was his whole basis for taking that plea.
That is my understanding, the same. I thought, will this get my kids home soon, or something, but will this get my kids back, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
I mean, if that really is still the mindset, I know he needs to get, he's the way he's like, I need to get myself right without all of your nonsense. Well, okay. You know, if that's the way you need to put it, but don't, I don't want him to make an enemy out of me. We're on the same side. And if he does decide that that's something that he's willing to sacrifice to me and therefore the kids, again, I'm not trying to say that in a manipulative kind of a way, because I know it comes off sounding like that, but that's what it is. If the kids could grow up with other people, and then it would have been a totally different scenario. If there are other people that we knew we could come back to them with, I might have made a different choice in terms of when I was asked, what do you want to do? Okay, well, let's, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
let's do this, and then we'll get back to where we were, because we fucked up. I fucked up by not recognizing what I should have, and not having, because I could have had control. Very few times, and Mike was like, well, Chad does what he wants to do. I'm like, no, Chad would have listened to me. Chad would have done what I had asked him to do. Chad was doing what I had asked him to do.
Ms. Cobb, does that accurately represent the conversation you had with Erica Stefanko on March 5th, 2014?
Yes, sir.
Council, moving now to page 168, line 8, to page 171, line 20. Starting at 2/19/58 to 2/22/28.
I would like it if Ben and Mary would give me a call. I would feel a lot more comfortable. It sounds like they didn't really have anything to do with it.
As she mentioned Ben and Mary, can you tell us who Ben and Mary are?
Ben was a high school buddy of Chad's. And then Ben married Mary, and they are some of the kids' godparents, and they're friends of Chad and Erica's.
Some of the kids' godparents?
Yes,
Okay, and they were friends with Chad and Erica?
yes, sir.
Okay. At some point in time, were they watching the kids?
Yes.
When would that have been?
It would have been when Chad was arrested and the children were in foster care.
Okay. And so they were helping out.
Yes, sir.
And did there come a time where that ended?
Yes, sir.
Why did that end?
There was a situation where Erica's mom, Joelle, wasn't allowed to watch the kids, or there were some issues with the kids being locked in a bedroom, and Erica had...
Judge, I would object to the relevancy of this.
Attorney LaPrenzie?
Your Honor, Mary Brinkman, who will be a witness later on, and I was trying to listen to the relationship between them and their involvement in this event.
All right, overruled.
You can answer, ma'am. So
and-
there was an issue with the kids being at Erica's mom's house?
Correct. The kids being locked in a bedroom.
There was an issue.
There was an issue, and Erica thought it stemmed from Ben and Mary.
And Erica what?
Thought that the issue came from Ben and Mary, that Ben and Mary had said something.
Had said something
Right.
about the issues at her mom's house.
Correct.
Okay.
But I would feel a lot more comfortable
autism, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, if we can have an upfront conversation, then I don't have any problem with that. I'm not trying to be crazy or vindictive or controlling. I want to be able to trust that everyone is on the same page. I want to be able to trust Chad. Like, I don't trust Chad right now. Maybe he doesn't have trust for me either. We at least need to rebuild that in regard to support. But yeah, that was not the right way to go. Because if I hadn't been able to catch myself and calm down, I really would have caused a ruckus, which would have made things so much worse. So that's what I want to talk to you about.
Yes, I know.
So she mentioned all being on the same page. What did you take that to mean? If you know, or if you recall.
I mean, whenever there were any issues, she wanted everyone on the same page, or there would be, like I stated previously, no contact with the kids. Just always wanted to know what was going on.
Okay.
I got the text and it's like,
Yeah, that was.
then I got hackled up, well then Jay gets hackled up because he sees me hackled up.
And Jay is,
My husband,
okay, I don't know that we said his name before, but Jay's your husband?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there were several other things that I almost texted that I caught myself and I was like, what's the best idea? Let's just sit down and talk about it like we did last time because last time that somebody said something that sounded off the wall, I completely flipped out and was like, well, you're not seeing the kids then. Let's not do that again. Let's do the competition first.
Because it doesn't benefit the kids.
No, it really doesn't. They need stability and to be able to be with people that are that everyone agrees is trustworthy.
Yeah.
So
Ma'am, did that clip accurately represent the conversation on March 5th, 2014 with Erica Stefanko?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, page 174, line 9 to page 174, line 12. Starting at 2:26:03 to 2:26:13.
I felt really bad, and obviously I have a different perspective, but I felt really bad because I know how much that I put him in the position that he's in.
Now, Ms. Lyons, at that point, she says to you, I know how much that I put him in the position that he's in. Do you know who she was referring to, or who did you take her to be referring to?
To Chad.
Counsel, page 207, line 9 to page 207, line 21.
Mr. LaPrenz, what line on 207?
9. Starting at 2:51:14, going to 2:51:48.
That's, you're right. All the other stuff, so. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I just think he he was frustrated.
He can't be saying, especially over the phone, he can't be saying stuff like that to me. I am not trying to, and I will try to do better to control my frustration and not make myself sound like I'm getting him close to him. I'm really glad that we have the phone conversation, the phone communication going again. I will try to be patient, and I'll try to think about what I say before I say it, so I'm not doing that anymore.
And just
And ma'am, and I'm not sure if I asked you on the last one, the last two clips, do those accurately represent the conversation you had with Erica Stefanko on March 5th, 2014?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Judge, may I just a moment, counsel?
Sure.
So ma'am, let me just ask you a few more questions, and then defense counsel will have an opportunity at some point to cross-examine you. First of all, do you know what mid-code trucking is?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
A place that my husband used to work.
Okay. Would this been back at the time of Ashley's death? Would he have been working there?
Correct.
And do you know where that's located?
Barber Road in Barber Norton.
Okay. But it's Barber Road.
Yes, sir.
And going back to the night of Ashley's death, I think you told us that you did not see either Erica or Chad that night. And I believe you told us earlier that he had called you one time in the night and made some statement to you. Did you speak to Erica that night?
No, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, the individual that we've been referring to as Erica Stefanko, who I believe at the time was Erica Lyon, at the time of Ashley's death, and that you had this conversation with that we've been going over, do you see that individual in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
Could you please point her out and describe what she's wearing?
She's sitting in front of me with the white polka dot shirt and black pants.
Thank you. Your Honor, we'd ask that the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Yes, it will. Thank you very much.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's approximately, I think, 10 till noon. We're going to go ahead and take our lunch recess now. So we'll break. I would ask that you return to the courtroom next door, Judge McLaughlin's courtroom, in approximately 1 hour. So if you don't mind, if you can be back there by 5 till 1. We have a time slot of testimony between 1 and 3 p.m., I think, as I told you about this morning. So we'll handle that. Remember, and I want to also remind you now at this point, I know that we started to hear evidence yesterday and today is Tuesday, but I also want to remind you at some point there's going to become a time that the 12 will discuss this case and deliberate. We know that. As we begin to hear more testimony and you see more evidence, it becomes even more essential to discuss the fact that you are not permitted to discuss this case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. No one is permitted to contact you. You are not allowed to do any independent research in any format. We really appreciate your time here this morning. And so what we'll do is we'll reconvene at about 5 till 1 or 1 o'clock, and then we'll hear testimony then. So I appreciate your patience. My staff will see you out. And then just as a reminder to you, I just want you to know, after the mid-morning recess, we did disinfect your seats while you were gone. We will do it again at lunchtime, and I'll see you back here in 1 hour. Thank you very much. My staff will help you out. Thank you. One moment. Very good, and then Mr. Wellenmeyer will help our jurors at the side door too. So thank you very much. I told them 5 till 1. Thank you, thank you. All right, and then Ms. Cobb, I'm going to excuse you to the foyer. We'll wait until the jurors are able to get where they're at before you leave the foyer. Again, just as critical, you are not permitted to discuss your testimony with anyone over the break. Do you understand me? All right, thank you. So you'll take a step out to the foyer. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
What time do you want her to come back?
What we will do is we have a slot with your son from 1 to 3 at the ODRC. We'll take a break, so if you would be kind enough to be back by 3 p.m. I don't want you, though, leaving the building, so you'll remain here. And then Attorney O'Brien, if you're comfortable, then you'll begin her cross-examination. We'll take a break after Chad Cobb, and then we'll proceed with her cross. Okay? So most likely, my guess is with recesses and breaks, we'll probably begin your testimony again at approximately 3:30. Okay? All right. Thank you so much.
Judge, can she go to our building?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So for now, is there anything that the state of Ohio would like to put on the record?
Not at this time, Judge.
Okay. Attorney O'Brien, anything right now?
Not right now.
All right. Thank you.